Three. Oh, and we are live. Welcome to Pistons Jack Fan Reacts. Uh, I got my man Cody joining me in just a moment. Unfortunately, today I've only got half an hour, so I'm probably just going to go through this game with Cody, um, just based on some other things going on right now. But the Pistons lose to the Jazz 119 to 126. And that game was all over the place, but I'm going to bring up Cody now to talk through it with me. Cody, man, I'm so happy to see you, bro. I feel like this is the longest absence we've had.
Big time, long one, long one, long one. I've been real busy lately, and yeah, I wanted to come up after the Heat game, but I was I was busy then. So yeah, it's good to be back, Jack. Good to be back.
It's
Wish we were
good to be back.
talking after not losing to the 5-22 Utah Jazz.
I know. Where do we start? I think you just have to start with the first quarter because I think that's why they lost the game. They give up 48 points. I know the Jazz were hot, but that was probably you couldn't expect a worse start. That's one of the worst quarters I've ever seen. And it wasn't just the threes, it was the transition points. The Jazz were just leaking out and killing the Pistons in
The transition
transition.
points made me way more mad than the threes because a lot of the
Yeah,
threes were contested.
exactly.
I mean, there were
So
several that weren't. It's whatever. It's the NBA, and then like you think about how the game ended, and you can never say it's going to, the butterfly effect. If they're only down 20 after the first quarter, do they win? Yada, yada, yada. But, you know, you can't give a really bad team that just got beat by 40 any confidence like that. Especially like that much confidence. Like, the Clippers literally were up 34 in the second quarter on them 2 nights ago. And they did the exact same thing to us in the first quarter alone. Like, that's why, like, no matter what happens this season, I just know this team is just not. It's not ready. Like
so
we,
yeah, we've spoken about this a lot, and like it feels like every time they have a big win, they like there was after the Pacers game, they got absolutely destroyed by Philly. This happened multiple times that they beat the Lakers, then lose to the Hornets. So I said earlier in the week, I can't remember if I was Kyle or something, but like they had to win this game. But deep down, I was like, this is also a game that this team will lose based on what we've seen this season. So I'm not mad. It's very disappointing, but and I think I'm with you. It's just like this is just where this team's at. They're going to beat some good teams, but they're going to have letdowns, and we'll talk about it because there's disappointing stuff. But this has kind of been a real pattern, and I feel like you and I have been up here
yeah, I
each
mean,
time to discuss these games.
it's just what this team is. They're not going to be consistent. They have a ton of players on the team that are not consistent. Like you get a lot of really good efforts out of guys. Like one game, the next game they disappear. Like it just is what it is, man. I mean, you're talking about a team right now that's missing, that has one two-way player, essentially no starting caliber center. Um, no wing who can really score it. I mean, it's there's a lot of pieces that still need to be added to this roster. Um, I mean, probably unless Trajan does something that I don't expect, probably looking at keeping the pick. I just don't think they're going to win enough games not to keep the pick. Especially like you look right now, the 76ers are getting hot. They're starting to play better basketball. The Bulls just beat the Celtics. Who knows what they're going to do towards the deadline? But there's not a lot of teams that are like actively tanking right now in the NBA. There's only a handful, so it's hard for me to imagine this Pistons team leapfrogging, a bunch of those teams ahead of them with the holes that they have on the roster.
Yeah, there's some serious holes, which like it's. I agree with you. But it's just it's so frustrating because I already know like come tomorrow I'm going to be like, okay, they're 11 and 18, or are they 11 and 17? 11
11
and
and
18.
17.
11 and 17. Uh and you're going to zoom out and you're like, okay, this disappointing loss. Jazz shot the hell out of the ball, but then they're probably going to beat one of the Suns or Lakers. They might get blown out in both, but I could just see them like beating one of those teams. Then we're back again. So it's there's some clear holes on the roster, but then like you see stuff tonight from Ron Holland. Asar Thompson was really good against the Heat, did some decent stuff tonight, but uh it's just yeah, it's a super frustrating experience because you just constantly feel like this team should have two or three more wins. But then at the same time, you see games like tonight and you're like, well, they kind of are where they meant to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think. Do I think this is more like a 13 or 14 and 14 team or a 13 and 15 team? Probably, but like, what's the difference in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah.
Like, they're still not good overall. They're competitive, which I think that's all a lot of Pistons fans wanted. And like, if you take it, like, we're 28 games into the season. I mean, they're still on an exactly 33 win pace if you do the math. So it's like, or sorry, they're just under now. They're on like a 32 win pace. But like, again, I said over 28, but like under 35. So it's kind of right where I expected the team to be before the season. So I've gotten to the point now where I'm like not gonna do the yo-yo thing anymore. Where
Yeah.
like I get really excited after a huge win and get really down over a bad loss like tonight. I'm just gonna. I think I'm at the point now where I've seen enough games to where it's like, okay, the team is pretty much exactly where I thought they'd be, and that's fine.
I think that's the right approach though, because I think you and I definitely came on here 10 games ago early in the season and we'll be like, we're back. And then it's like, well, probably more so me about we're back, but like like you said, the yo-yo effect is a perfect way to describe it. Whereas now I'm a bit more like, even though I just thought they had to win today, it's like, I'm not shocked at all. It's not going to deter how I feel about a lot of the young guys long term. It certainly is going to change my opinion about, what changes are potentially needed. But I will say, I think that the starting lineup tonight was obviously changed, but Tim Hardaway Jr. I want to say he pretty much won the Pistons that game against the Heat. They were dead in the water. But so I want to give him his props for that. But you have to wonder, like, he's
Awful
just
tonight. Awful.
yeah. I really don't want to just single him out because
Tobias was awful too, so you don't have to single him out.
yeah. But I only bring it up because I kind of put a fair bit of tonight as well on the coaching staff because they just weren't ready, the Pistons. And like I know it's on the players, 100%. I'm not excusing them, but at some point I would probably like to see JB. I know he likes having Beasley off the bench, but these bad starts, like tonight, obviously, they've had bad starts consistently, I feel like, in the past month. I
No, I
think
mean,
I
I,
know
I
your
think
answer
I
here,
think
but
the
do you think
change.
a change needed?
I think the change is obvious. I think you go Cade, Malik, Asar, Tobias, and Duren,
Yeah.
and then you bring Ivy and Stu off the bench when Stu and Ivy are ready to play again, and you let THJ come off the bench as well. That like what's the argument for THJ over Malik Beasley at this point? I get it. You want to bench heater coming off, but like Malik's playing starter minutes. Like what? Like just let him go out there and get hot right away.
Yeah, I
It's
just
not
think
like
it would.
THJ is providing this defensive lift. He's not. So what's the point? Like, and then it makes. I think it makes Asar. I think it makes Malik even more dangerous playing with Cade and Asar because both of them can pass really well.
Yeah.
So I think overall that's what you want to do, and then you let Ivy and THJ and Stu and Ron like that's not bad for a second lineup. And obviously, I know Bobby's ramping up. We'll see if they want to play Bobby at all. Um, Paul Reed was surprisingly decent tonight.
Yeah.
I know he's not going to get a ton of run when Stu's back, but like I think the change is obvious and staring them in the face. And I think again, like I don't want to sound like too like pessimistic or like negative about this, but I wonder if Trajan's just like, dude, we can't lose that pick.
Yeah.
Make the team competitive, but we cannot, like JB, we cannot lose that pick. We have to have it, and we need it to be good enough. We can't get the 12th pick. We need a top 6 pick because there's a lot of. I've been watching more and more college hoops. I'm falling back in love with college hoops as a whole. I think the NBA product, not to go on a tangent or anything, because I know you don't have much time. I think
No,
the
you're
NBA
good.
product just stinks right now. Like I was flipping back and forth. I was watching the Memphis and Warriors game. Dude, that game was over within 8 minutes. Like I just you think that's gonna be a good game, right? Two top teams in the West over in 8 minutes, just done. Like
Yeah.
it's just I don't know. So I've been falling back in love with college hoops, and there's a lot of guys that can help this team in the top 8. A lot.
throw some names at me. I know Harper and obviously Cooper Flag and
Harper, Cooper Flag, Ace
Ace Bay.
Bailey, Igor, Trey Johnson.
Yeah.
Um, I can't pronounce his name at all. It's too hard to pronounce. The shooting guard from Illinois. He's a bucket and a half. And he's really smooth. He's got size. He's 6'6", 6'6 and a half. Like there's a lot of guys in that top seven, and even the Duke center, which I know Bleacher
Yes.
Report had a
He's
post about, and he's a project, but he could be a menace defensively.
yeah, no,
Ridiculous
he's
wingspan, and it's kind of making me feel. And I know a lot of people said this. It's kind of making me feel like he's getting that Derek Lively role right now at Duke, where they just have so many talented players like they always do. And he's kind of getting lost in the shuffle, but I think he's talented too. So like that's 8 players right there, and then you got Colin Knuppel after that as well, who can shoot the cover off the ball, who's also at Duke.
well,
There's a
it
lot
makes
of talented
sense.
guys in that top 8, 9.
It makes sense. Like if I think Trajan set this roster up without even having to say we need a top pick because there's some real clear holes, but it makes sense to get that pick in this draft. Hopefully it's top 8, like you said. It probably will be. Maybe you get some good luck, which we don't really get with the Pistons, but you never know. Get that pick and then you make some big moves. Because the beautiful thing is, like, I think like you can get a top pick, and we've seen how it's worked with Ron Holland. Like, it is still a good thing to bring a top pick into a more competitive team. Like, you don't have to be what the Pistons have been for the past 3 years and just play your young guys 30 minutes. Like, I think there's some real benefit in bringing like a top 6 pick into a team that's pushing for the play-in playoffs next season. And you can still make a big trade, like I feel like this summer.
Yeah,
If you
and I
just,
mean,
it doesn't mean we're back to tanking. I think a lot of fans, when we talk about the draft, think we're going back to like, okay, we're playing 5 young guys. Like, you can bring these guys into an environment and they can still develop really well, even if their minutes are a bit less than
well,
what they would.
and I think that like the fact that these guys came, other than Cade, the fact that a lot of these guys came in and played a ton of minutes for a really bad basketball team, they developed horrible habits,
Exactly.
and that's tough to break. Like that's why like you see these guys where these teams get insane lottery luck and they jump really high and they're already decent teams,
Yeah.
and these players just come into the fold and play with a really decent squad. It tends to work out a lot better than these teams that are perpetually bad and they're forcing these guys out 30 minutes a night to just gain bad habits.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
but I think honestly, what I like, I know Pistons fans don't want to hear it, but I think the ultimate thing with this team is time. Like it sucks, but like I'm picturing year 3 Ron Holland. I'm picturing year 4 Czar Thompson. I'm picturing, I still think there's another leap in there for Cade. Like I think what sucks, we've been waiting so long, obviously.
Yeah.
So long. I've been waiting forever. I've been a fan of this team for, again, like we've said, about 20 years. And they were only competitive for, you know, 4 or 5 of those years. So obviously that stinks, but like it just they need more time, which is, it sucks, but
No, I agree. I agree. And like, it's why I think at least you and I have kind of come to the point where it's like the wins are great, but there's going to be these losses, and there's no point kind of getting too high or too low, because ultimately this team is still a couple of seasons away. Like who knows? They could have a crazy turnaround, second up season, make the play in, but the likely path is next. Like, they make some moves this summer. Obviously, they have those 2 extensions decisions with Duran and Ivy, but like, next season's when they can really push. And it's frustrating because we've waited so long. But I think, like you said, this team, like I said earlier, like this team is still competitive, like pretty much most nights, and it's going to be frustrating. And I'm not telling anyone they can't be furious about tonight's loss, because I certainly was for portions there. But I think it just kind of makes too much sense to like get that draft pick, try get another blue chip prospect, because you and I have spoken about it. That's kind of what's missing is still that second guy along Cade. I don't think that's on the roster. I'd
Yeah,
be shocked.
exactly. And I think any Pistons fan that is rooting for the play-in is probably, like most Pistons fans, just really, really down on this team, really, really down on the fact they haven't been good forever, and just really, really impatient, which I don't blame anyone for. But like, I hate to say it, you're rooting for the wrong thing. If the Pistons lose this draft pick, it's going to be really bad on a lot of levels. Because the only good thing about losing this draft pick is getting control of your picks back. That's the only benefit. Otherwise, there is no benefit. Because guess what you can do? You can get that pick back. Even if you don't like any of the guys, let's say Trajan doesn't like any guys, you can trade that pick. And for a guy, for a team that's like, oh, we'd rather get another young guy. We have this piece that would fit a team that's more ready, that's more trying to make a push to be a little bit better. We'd rather get a second lottery pick. We have a guy that we're targeting. Like, there's a lot more you can do with that pick. The only benefit of losing that pick this year is that you get control of your other picks back. But outside of Cade, no one, Cade and Malik, really. Malik's obviously really good. But outside of those two, there's no one really like that I see that would be like a viable piece on a playoff team and in a rotation. Like Asar could
You
get
mean
minutes.
as of right now?
Yes, as of this
Yes.
exactly this
Yeah, yeah,
moment.
yeah. Yeah.
But I think year 3 Ron could be a demon. I think year 4 Asar. I even think year 3.5 Asar could be a demon. Like I feel like Asar's offensive game is still way far away. But like there's a lot of hope, and it sucks. It sucks to be a hope salesman because that's real. It's no fun for anyone. Just like, dude, there's so much hope, man. It's like following the rainbow to the end, and the pot of gold's not there because it's not a for sure thing.
I do
So
think though the hope this year is real. I think like that's like you said, I think Cade tonight, some of his turnovers there in those last 3 minutes are a bit frustrating. But I think what we're seeing from him is, I mean, I'll be honest, like I wasn't sure how good he could be before this season. And I'm with you. He can definitely go another level. Like, it's not that I didn't think spacing would open his game up because it was kind of obvious, but to see how much his game has elevated just with like normal NBA spacing is crazy. And that's why I'm kind of excited for whenever he gets the chance to play with a true number two guy or 1A, whatever you want to call it. So I think his game's going to go to another level, like his efficiency will, I think. So,
Cade's
you know,
Cade's a Cade's a finishing leap away from being second team All NBA for real.
literally, yeah. And I wasn't sure I thought that was an outcome for sure before the season, but I think just the fact he could be like, I fully believe now he can be a top 10 player. Not sure for how long in the NBA, but that's like, I think that's a real conversation for him at some point as the team gets better.
No, because that's the main problem with him right now. Like there were so many drives to the rim where he either didn't finish or got blocked.
Yeah.
He's got to be a little bit more creative down there, and he's got to get the ball up faster. Like I'd like to like he's not that type of athlete, but like the really good finishers in the NBA can do the same foot same hand finish.
Yeah.
Like that's just not in his game right now, but it's not necessarily something I don't think he couldn't get to just to get the ball up faster because I think that's one of his biggest problems when he's trying to finish. He doesn't get the ball up fast enough sometimes, and guys like Walker Kessler who are great shot blockers just eat that stuff up. Like if they see you coming and they can time it, they're gonna get it 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
But that's like, and it's just like, but like I even saw it with the Jazz today. Like even if Cade had a guy like Keontae George or Colin Sexton, like because nobody's gonna say like Colin Sexton is like an elite NBA player. No one's gonna say that about Keontae George yet. I think Keontae George has special ability to score the basketball. Like it's not there yet. He's only in his second year. He's super young. But like even if Cade had somebody like that, like who like can really fill it up, and Colin Sexton's been doing it long enough to where I trust that he can really fill it up on any given night. Like he's like Ivy's shown flashes, but Colin Sexton's been doing it in the NBA for a long time. Now,
Yeah.
granted, not in a lot of good teams, this, that, and the other. He's not a great defender, whatever. you want to say about it, but just someone with that offensive pop would be really nice next to Cade. And I think you get that out of Malik Beasley, but those guys are like 10 times the athlete Malik Beasley is.
Yeah.
Like that reverse dunk that Colin Sexton pulled off tonight, I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, on the fast break.
And then not to mention Keontae Jordan absolutely baptizing Jalen Duran.
those those dunks were insane.
Yeah,
I
like those
thought,
two, like those two have that like special, like Colin Sexton's just short, but he's super athletic. Keontae George is decently tall, extremely athletic.
yeah,
Like I think Malik Beasley obviously great player, shown that he is, but like he can't do the same things Keontae George or Colin Sexton can do off the dribble.
no,
He like they just have a bigger package. So like I think this team honestly, if it had a player like that already in the fold, like I think they would actually be a legit like they could be an 8 seed. But like, I even tweeted today, what's the price of one Colin Sexton? Like
yeah,
what's he commanding? But that's the type of player you need by Cade. Obviously you want better than that. But that's just like if we just had one of those guys, because like we could have had Keontae George. Like
yeah.
you could have been a Piston. I'm not saying that I don't like Ron's long term upside more, or not Ron. Who would have been? Who would have been?
Asar.
Yeah, Asar's long term upside more because Keontae's in year 2. Yes, correct. You're correct. I'm not obviously. I think Asar long term better player, but like the Pistons have had ample opportunities to find that type of player. Obviously, they're playing the long game right now, which is still correct, but like you got to find one of those, and that's why I think this year in the draft, I think Trey Johnson is like that type of player. He's electric. He's an electric scorer. Now he has
So
flaws elsewhere, and he's whatever. But they got to find that guy who can just be next to Cade and just rip the cover off the ball, like just score.
yeah, I would say like I mean, obviously that's meant to be Jaden Ivey. So he's before this injury, like he's had like 8 really down games. Like he was really struggling. So I don't know how much the injury is factoring into it, but uh yeah, Cade needs someone beside him who can go for 25 plus on any given night. Because I think Jaden's problem is like it's consistency, but like his best games, he only ever gets to like 25. Like he's not typically that like closer, like the 30-point game. So, and I still like have stock in Jaden. It has wavered a little bit because that stretch was really, really rough after an awesome start. But the thing with Jaden, he just doesn't have that explosive vertical pop. Like he's quick, like up and down the court. But like when it comes to like vertical, like dunking on people and stuff, he's obviously had a couple of nice dunks, but yeah, he doesn't have that explosive finishing. And it's probably been one of his struggles is just finishing around the rim in general.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not completely selling my stock in Jaden either, but it's like, and again, that's the thing. Like, it's weird because like, as a Pistons fan, you're just so used to this rotating door of guys. Like you go and watch the Celtics, they don't have any super young guys. They're
Yeah.
all vets. They've all been in the league outside of even Tatum. What year is Tatum in? 5?
No, I think he's in like his 7.
Yeah, 6, 7. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you lose track because you expect all these other teams to have super young guys playing. The best teams in the NBA don't have guys this young playing these kind of minutes. Like
Yeah.
that's like you look at a team like the Heat. Look, like they're a middle. I think they're a middle tier team. It's all vets.
Yeah.
By NBA standards, it's all vets. 5 years plus that are playing heavy minutes. Like that's a mid-tier team.
Well, honestly, you normally only when you're in that rebuilding phase, you probably only keep 2 of your draft picks. Like, and then lays in like your top first round picks. And then a lot of them are obviously consolidated or moved
Yeah,
on.
exactly. I mean, Kyle Metz
But-
wrote that article a while back
Yeah.
on DBB where he explained
Yeah.
that like it was like a study of the last like 20 champions.
Yeah.
The most any team had was 3 draft picks. The rest were players
Yeah.
from outside the organization.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
and it's weird because like the Pistons, their team getting heavy minutes, it's almost all players drafted by the Pistons.
Yeah. I mean, the Pistons' circumstances are not normal.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
after
So
last season. So, I think, like, Trajan's obviously, this is the year for assessment. I know this is where you're probably getting to,
mhm.
but, it probably yeah, can I ask you this? Not to change the topic too much, but what do you think happens at the trade deadline? I have no idea. I feel like nothing, but I also just don't know.
Taking on salary for picks.
Yeah,
I think
but
ultimately what I could see is them maybe getting THJ off the books in a bit like a big trade where
yeah,
a team needs to get off significant money. So like I don't know. I'd have to sit down and think of it. But where a team needs to get off significant money and they take back like double or something like that. Obviously, that would require the team. I don't know all the rules. Like that would require a team, I think, not to be even in the first apron. So it would require a weird situation. But I think there are going to be big deals at the deadline this year. I think there's going to be significant shakeup. I think the Pistons will probably just take on expiring deals to facilitate that trade and get seconds back, probably, and
yeah,
like see what Trajan can do with seconds because seconds are becoming more valuable with the tax rules. Even though teams can still be like, "Oh, I'm sending you $7 million in cash. Give me a second round pick," or "I'm sending you $4 million." So it's like, I think that's ultimately what they do. Though I don't see us being aggressive.
yeah.
I, I don't see us being
It
like,
just
"Oh,
doesn't.
like
Yeah, I know we all want a move, but yeah, it just doesn't align with anything Trajan said. And like, I know press conferences are just press conference, but his whole thing the whole time has just been like acquiring assets.
yeah." And
So
I honestly like I know I was pushing for like the BI like that type of player trade
yeah,
more and more, but like I like watching Asar come back, watching Ron. I'm like, those guys are probably two key pieces, and they're years away. So how much can you accelerate the timeline? Like the only thing you worry about is like how long can you keep Cade waiting?
yeah, that's the balance.
That's
Yeah,
the big thing. I saw Kyle tweet tonight. Like if you're not going to put a second player next to Cade, just trade him and get the assets and restart with the players you do have, and try to find like another Cade, which like obviously that would destroy every Pistons fan in the entire world. But
yeah.
like it's not as crazy as it sounds.
I just can't. No, it makes sense. I get it. There is just no way I could see, especially if Cade's an all-star this season, that Tom Gores allows his franchise guy to be traded because they have spent and I don't think Trajan would do this, but they've spent so long not having a true star. They had Blake for a season. Like, it's like there is no way he would let that go. I can never, it makes so much sense. I get what Carl's saying, but I just could never see it
The
happening,
thing
even if
the thing
Trajan
that's
wanted to.
crazy about it is
Yeah.
it makes almost too much sense.
Yeah, from like an asset management standpoint.
From
But
this team being actually competitive in 5 years standpoint.
yes, but
Because
I don't
you can get like legitimately you can get a haul for Cade Cunningham. A
totally.
haul.
But you will also lose any credibility you've built up with your fan base. And like we here understand that. But can you imagine trying to tell Pistons fans on Instagram or anyone like the casual fan that they're not like the thinking behind that? It's just a disaster. I
Oh,
just could
trust me,
never see it happening. Unless Kate
don't
asked
I
out.
know it, but like
Yeah.
man, like I'm just like
I would never do it.
Cade's gonna be at the
I would
peak of his powers very young, very soon. Like
Unless Kate's asking out, I would never ever consider it.
well,
I get the logic, but I just think you're better off somehow syncing with Kate as your franchise guy than trying to find another Kate. Even though you can do it, I just think it would be so.
you think you now I gotta push back. You think we're better off just sinking into mediocrity with Cade than trying to find another guy and getting a ton of assets?
If I was running the team, yeah,
Oh man, I couldn't disagree less,
because
or I couldn't disagree more.
no, I think you are better off getting to the playoffs as like a 7 seed twice than telling your fan base we're going through another rebuild after what you've just put them through and expecting like with no real certainty. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's no certainty you
Oh,
find that.
I get that, but there's no
So
like I'm not gonna lie. There's no certainty the Pistons are gonna be good with Cade.
absolutely. But I thought you were saying if they get to because they're not mediocre to me yet. Like I'm anticipating they get to the 7th seed or something with Cade. And so I think you're better off making the playoffs like twice.
So basically the Blake Griffin situation all over again, but for longer.
Well, it wouldn't be that because you can still trade Cade at some point. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm not saying trade Cade today.
Yeah.
But like, I'm thinking, you're thinking long term. Like, next 5 years from Cade with a 7 seed twice. That's better than flipping Cade when he's 25 and getting a true haul of assets and then rebuilding the team that way.
I think so.
Oof.
I'd rather go. I just if I'm the owner, I'm not saying like if I am the owner and I'm trying to build back credibility and get this building full again. There is no way I am just like trading Cade in 2 years after not making any noise.
Yeah, the thing is though, the valuation of the Pistons has gone up 30x since Tom Gore's bought it. So
totally.
Like, I think I forget how much he spent because they're worth like $3 billion now.
I think he get them for like 300 million or something.
Yeah, so it's 10x. It's 10x. So like that valuation has been based on an empty arena for the last 10 years. Yeah, they're still worth $1 bazillion. So it's like, what's my argument is if I'm trying to, you couldn't reason with Tom Gores anyway. He doesn't know anything about basketball, and he's on all the substances you could ever want.
But the way you're talking about him is why he would not. Like, can you imagine if he traded Cade? Like this, yeah. Anyway, like he's trying. Like
that, I get it. You couldn't reason with a Tom Gores, but if you had an owner who understood basketball and said, "Hey, I think this path could take 4 years. I think this other path takes 7." That's the thing, because you've seen how fast other teams have turned it around by trading one guy. Look at the Rockets. Trade Harden, 4 years later, incredible.
Yeah, 4 years later. 4 years later, after that's a long time.
Would you rather be the Rockets or us?
Well, no, but it's different situations. Like because the Pistons.
No, it's not. If Cade, let's say Cade next year, bona fide top level, like top level player, he makes the leap we think he is, and you can get a haul, a Mikal Bridges or better haul.
Yeah.
And you can be with you can do what the Rockets did in 4 years. You're telling me you're not taking that? You're taking a chance with Cade
I would take a chance with Cade.
Oh my God. No way.
4 years. That is a long time.
The Rockets are a legit contender in the West with one more
and they
piece.
don't have a go-to player.
With one more piece, and they have all the assets they need to make that move. One piece away.
There's no guarantee they find that guy.
What do you mean? De'Aaron Fox is right there. De'Aaron Fox is right there.
De'Aaron Fox, like, he's solid. He's good.
De'Aaron Fox with the rest of that team, they're very, very good. Very good.
I just think I would rather keep Cade than be the Houston Rockets, who are awesome defensively and whatever, but like have proven nothing. And I know they're
third
awesome
in the West, a much better conference in the East. Third.
Totally. I'm not arguing they don't have a better roster and a better future.
The rosters are not even the same stratosphere.
I just think though, but think about what you're saying. Like you want to wait another 4 years just to be Houston, who still haven't got the full puzzle together. Like, so we're going to be here in 2028 and just starting to get to the third seed.
If you could put me in a time machine and guarantee the Pistons are as good as the Rockets in 4 years.
Yes.
I'm pressing whatever button I need to press.
I disagree. I just think like Cade, right? If they can get you that haul that you're talking about, why don't you just keep him and find someone else to go with him?
How are you going to do it? We have no assets.
No, but you can make things happen.
How? Kyle Metz has talked about it.
The pick will convey, and then they have all their picks back in like a year or two.
So then you're throwing away all your picks again to get another guy.
To come with Cade, absolutely. Then being the Rockets
versus getting
we're talking about Cade being a top 10 player 10 minutes ago. So it's like I think you're making sense. I just think saying like 4 years is such a long time for no
really
guarantee.
not. We haven't won a playoff game in 16.
I know, and what we're just gonna wait another 4 years to still not know anything, whereas Cade can
No, no,
actually take you to the
Jack, I
playoffs.
guarantee you the Rockets win a playoff game this year. Guarantee it.
That's fine. But
I
like,
actually think I guarantee the Rockets will win a playoff series this year.
would you rather win a playoff game in the next 3 years or wait 4 years
I would
and
rather wait
not
4
know?
years to be a team that is one piece away from contending than win a playoff game in the next 3. Absolutely.
So you would trade Cade next season if he's like
If
top 20 player?
if I can guarantee a James
Yeah.
Harden haul,
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
Wow.
Yes.
So,
Dude.
but Cade, the difference between James Harden and Cade and those types of trades is Cade's literally going to be like 25 in his prime, and not even in his prime, and you're flipping him because of other things. Whereas
Well,
James
and that's
Harden,
why you'd probably get an even better haul. You'd probably get the most insane haul. The thing is, I don't see how you improve this roster right now with the assets we have in house.
yeah,
Because guess what? Ivy's value tanked. Duran's value tanked. Nobody knows what Azar can be offensively. Value's not there like a Men's is. Ron, he's 19. Who's trading big assets for a 19-year-old? Like, what tradable pieces do you have on this roster?
yeah.
Even when your picks convey, which, Jack, to be completely honest with you, the pick probably won't convey for another year after this. So we're already 2 years in to that 4 years. So we're 2 years into that 4 years we're talking about. You only need to wait 2 more years after that in this hypothetical. That's all I'm saying.
No, and I think you're making sense. I don't think you're crazy or anything. I just think like if we're talking about Kay Cunningham being a top 20 player, right? Potentially like a guy that can get you to an all NBA second team, and he is going to be 25, 26 years old. You do not trade that. You figure out whatever it takes. You trade Asar, you package them all together. You let that pick convey. Unless Kay Cunningham comes to me and says, I am leaving because I'm sick of this situation. Like, you never let go of him. I just think and I wasn't of this opinion before this season, but from what I have seen, like, it's like, this is the guy you try to get in these drafts. And yes, they've done a bad job building around him. And I agree with you about the value of some of the players, but
I love Kyle. I love Kyle's forever optimism. I'm reading the comments. Everybody's roasting me, and that's fine. But I love Kyle's optimism. Or we can make the playoffs this year. Okay, yeah, right, Kyle. Good luck with that. We're not making the playoffs. We stink. Get all our picks back and trade for a second star next summer. Okay. Wishful thinking, Kyle.
It's Kyle's the man who came up with the Cade ideas. It's just like
he is, but his level of optimism in this post. I guess maybe I'm just not as optimistic as other Pistons fans, obviously, about how I think this team's trending.
I think you're just being real. Like, I think it's like, this is like, we're just having fun now. But like, I don't think it's crazy. I just think like the way we were talking about Cade like 20 minutes ago, I just can't imagine trading him in the next 2 years.
They will if we get Levine. Ugh. Now I think Kyle's trolling me.
Well, look, I'll be honest, guys. I got to wrap this up in a couple of minutes, but I think this is the first time we've gone back and forth. I've loved it.
Yeah, no, we needed. I needed a moment like that. I love the bandering.
But I feel like we didn't really talk about the game, but
we didn't really. We talked about THJ and Tobias stinking.
Can I ask
talked about Cade being pretty good. That's about it.
Can I ask you, Pistons now go on a 4-game West Coast trip. They play in Phoenix, in LA, Sacramento, and Denver before the new year. Oh boy. That's why tonight hurt so much. That's why the Charlotte games hurt so much. But I don't know. Hopefully you might be able to make me feel a bit optimistic about these next 4 games.
I mean, the Suns aren't playing particularly good basketball. The Lakers are playing terrible basketball. Sacramento's free falling. Denver's playing better basketball, but they also lost to the Wizards by like 20 when Jokic had 56. I mean, I'm not saying you can go 4-0 on this trip, but you can go 2-2.
All right, good. Let's go. Love it.
You can go 2-2, but you definitely can't have the effort you had tonight.
Yeah.
You cannot come out against any of the, because no matter what, even if like the Lakers are not playing good basketball or the Kings are, they are much better than the Jazz. So like, yeah, or at least in my opinion, their roster's top to bottom are. So like, you can't come out that way against those teams. But you can go 2-2. You can go 2-2 in this stretch, no doubt. Get a
I
win
love
against
it.
Phoenix, then you can easily go 1-3 or 1-2 in the next two. Easily.
Well, that's good. I mean, to be honest, the way this team's gone, that they this season they will win 2 of these games. Wouldn't be surprised if it's 0-4, but I'd love to beat the Lakers. I can't remember the last time the Pistons won a game in LA. It's been forever.
I mean, this is
Is there any
this is
update
wild.
on
I'm
LeBron?
just reading the comments in awe.
Yeah.
We just need 2 more consistent scorers. Like that, like they just grow on trees. Like they're just so easy to find. 2 guys who can drop 20 a night. That's all we need. We're 2 20-point scorers away.
Trust in Trajan.
That's all. They grow on trees.
No, I think look, you're not crazy. I don't think you're crazy at all. I get what you're saying. I'm just very strong on keeping Cade, even if the logic is fully
I
there.
freaking love Cade.
Yeah.
I love Cade to death.
Yeah.
But this is the key to being good again. To the key from going from bad to good in the NBA is having assets, and we have none.
Yeah.
That's just what, like, we have Tobias Harris on a $26 million a year contract. Like, what are we doing? I'm sorry. I had a little bit of a meltdown tonight, but
you're good. This is what this show's meant to be. I'm loving it.
Exactly.
This is just fan react.
The OKC tree, the Houston tree, and the Magic tree. You know what all of those franchises had in common? A lot of assets, people. A lot of swings they had a lot of chances to take home run swings. A lot of them. That's what those teams have in common. They have unlimited home run swing chances. That's why the Thunder could afford to take Jalen Williams at 13. Like, freaking all these shots they take. We don't get unlimited shots. We get 1 a year.
Oh, look, Cody, I'm going to have to wrap it up here, man, but this might be one of my favorite streams.
I loved it. I loved it. I love going into hypotheticals and just at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We want the Pistons to be good.
And we're all passionate, and that's
exactly.
what I love the most.
We all want the Pistons to be good at the end of the day.
You know, we might disagree, but the passion is it's the best part of it.
Oh God, yeah. And we both love the Pistons to death, so that's all that really matters.
But yeah, I'm gonna let you go, Cody, man. Tell the people they can find you, what's going on with you. I know you've been super busy lately, but we want you up here as much as possible.
Yeah, no flies on 906. I'm trying to join a few more spaces. I see a few more spaces hosted by like Don. I might go jump in the Don space right now and talk a little more in there. And get flamed again, because I might do exactly what I just did just for the reactions. But I've been trying to join more spaces there, and then I'm trying to tweet, but I've been doing so much multitasking, especially now that Spartan Roundball's back and they're good again. I've been watching multiple games at the same time, especially when good college basketball's on. So it's hard for me to live tweet, but on Twitter, still plugging away there.
I love it, man. Well, thank you for jumping on with me tonight. I've had so much fun.
So, yeah, no problem, man. And I will be on more going forward. I will, especially I'm going back to a wasteland of the Upper Peninsula for 2 weeks. A lot of people in the chat will know what that's about. Yeah. I will have nothing but time on my hands to jump on stream because there's nothing to do up there.
There's plenty of love for you in the comments, particularly earlier, man. So check those out. It's not all.
I like all the comments. Like I said, I'm here for anything.
Appreciate you, brother. You have a good night, and we'll chat. All right, catch you, man. Oh man, that was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm gonna get this in comments now, just before I jump off here. But thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and jumping on the show. Especially after a bit of a hard loss like that. But plenty of stuff in here. Some critique on Cody's lighting. There you go. What's up, Derek? Appreciate you, my guy. Cody and Jack, a must watch. There you go, Cody. I'm not sure if you're watching, but there's definitely plenty of love in here for you. Austin, my man, appreciate you as always. The letdowns came from the vets today. Yeah, Beasley got it going there in like the second and third quarters and a bit in the fourth, but the other two really, really struggled. Well, this is the thing, Moses. They can't win against under sub 500 teams. that like it feels like they'll have a really good win, like I said earlier, whether they beat Miami, the Lakers, the Pacers on the road, all those really high highs that we've had this season will normally be followed up with a letdown loss. So that's just kind of where this team's at. They're a fun. They're still very much a rebuilding team, I think. Definitely on the right path, but there's going to be plenty more of those types of games. So don't get too high or too low on this team. Just enjoy it, the wins when you can, and yeah, enjoy the growth of some of the young players. But they they again, so it doesn't matter how bad the team is. It just the Pistons on any given night can either beat the best teams or really struggle against some of the worst. Caleb Charles, who thinks Ron was going to win that fight? I thought I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Ron's done that a couple of times now where he'll like put his hands up like he's ready to go. I, ultimately, like he didn't throw any punches, so you kind of love the energy from him. And I thought tonight, like Ron's defense was exceptional. You're really starting to get a feel for what him and Asar can bring on that end of the court. Their disruption. Uh, it's something this team has missed for a long time. So watching those two, even the minutes on the court together, do that, it's been a highlight for me, even if this team has struggled at times. What else we got in here? YouTube user, I'd rather only remove THJ from the starting lineup at this point. Yeah, I'm the same. I guess I think Ivy still has that starter spot, no matter what. Like, but I think he really needs to turn it around. But I could see at some point maybe then bringing Ivy off the bench if his offensive struggles continue, just to mix it up for him and try and get him going in other ways. But I would like to think this injury he's dealing with, I think it was knee soreness, was something that was really affecting him in those last 6 to 8 games. Maybe that's why he was struggling on finishing on the rim and just elevating and driving as much, because I felt like he'd been settling for threes a lot more before he went out. So I'm still fully in on Ivy being a starter for now. And I think Beasley going into the starting lineup for THJ, whilst you lose a tiny bit of size, I just think Beasley's scoring and his ability to bring energy from the tip is what this team really needs right now. I'm not saying tonight it would have made a huge difference because the Jazz were just on fire, but I think like in the next, you know, I guess in the long run of this season, I think it will help the team. Caleb, if Beef Stew was playing this game, I know he'd be locked up right now. There was a lot of emotion in this game, lots of talking, shoving, technicals, 2 ejections. It was all happening. Coaches getting texts. There's a lot of emotion in that game. A lot of really good plays as well. I'm not gonna lie, the Jazz, some of their shooting and dunks were crazy. Uh, what else have we got in here? Cody's fan is always saying hi to the streamer making appearances. Yeah. Cody, if he's on his iPad or phone, you always get a bit of a different angle of the room he's in, but he's the man. Love having Cody on here. His passion is unmatched, and that's I agree with most of Cody's basketball takes, but I absolutely just love his passion, because that's what this show's about, and that's why I want to get more of you up here. Um, Especially after we get past this New Year's period, the streams will be definitely able to go much longer. I've just had to cut them short recently, just with family commitments and stuff. It's been hard to do the longest streams, but I'm definitely keen to get way more of you up here as the season continues to progress. Uh, Thank you, White Guy Next Door. Yeah, if you haven't already, if you could hit that like button, any support is honestly helps this channel so much. But if not, obviously, as always, I do not expect that. But I think that's going to do it, guys. I got to get out of here. Sorry I couldn't get to most of your comments, but I, as always, absolutely appreciate every single one of you jumping in here and supporting the show and creating such good conversation. So thank you so much. Unfortunately, a loss, but enjoy the rest of your evening or day, wherever you might be. And as always, go Pistons.